Hello, and welcome to Dolphin's Dive, the weekly strategically minded Handelabra stream hosted by Logic Dolphin. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. And with that, let's begin. We're playing Spirit Island this week, as we usually do, and we're continuing my voyage through all the scenarios. We're actually approaching the end. This week is varied terrains. The island's terrains are diverse. The mists and streams of high mountains, the arid scrub of hot sands, river valleys and swamps, jungle trees towering high. The invaders have reason to seek all these places out, but each has its own character. This scenario is notably easier for spirits with very good build prevention in jungles and wetlands, e.g. a spread of rampant green. This scenario is notably harder with adversaries that cause many builds, e.g. the Kingdom of England. Oh. Alright, difficulty 2. Rules changes. Each terrain has a unique effect associated with it. Mountains may hide gold. Add explore when exploring mountains, including during setup if appropriate. Jungles clear cut for land. After invaders build one or more cities in a jungle, add 1 blight there. Fragile sands. After setup, blight added to sands cascades as if blight were already present even when it is not. And fertile wetlands. After invaders successfully build in a wetland, they build there a second time. Oh boy. 2 things that affect blight. 1 things that affect build. 1 thing that affects explore. Oh joy. So this is in response to a ravage. This is just in response to a build that it puts a blight down. This is in response to a build. This is in response to an explore. And the chances are about 95% I'm going to forget at least one of these over the course of the game. But we also have some aspects that I've played at least once before. River surges in sunlight, the travel aspect. Whoops. Hitting the wrong button. Noises. Alright, setup. Put 1 presence on your starting board in the highest numbered wetland. Special rules. Travel on the river's back. After growth, choose up the 2 Dahan among your lands. Move each of them to any land contiguously connected by your presence. People tend to the river, river tends to the people. Your lands with 4 or more Dahan are considered sacred sites and have defend 1. Obviously, this is changing the innate special rule where your presence in wetlands counts as a sacred site always. Instead, we have free Dahan movement as long as they move contiguously. And as long as we have many Dahan in a land, it's considered a sacred site. So we don't care about wetlands as much, but we do care about Dahan. Growth options. Number 1, reclaim cards, gain power card, gain 1 energy. Number 2, add a presence range 1, add a presence range 1. Number 3, gain a power card, add 2 presence. That's all the same. Presence track starts at 1 energy per turn, 1 card play per turn, gets up to 5 and 5 with a reclaim 1. That's the same. And the innate power is massive flooding. At 1 sun, 2 water, push 1 explorer or town. At 2 sun, 3 water, instead 2 damage, push up to 3 explorers or towns. And at 3 sun, 4 water, 1 earth, instead 2 damage to each invader. That's also the same. So, only difference here is our innate power, our innate special rules. Not innate power, that's this thing. We also have Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares, Violence. Put 2 presents on your starting board in the highest numbered sands. Gain 1 energy. Replace Dreams of the Dahan with Bat Scout for raids by Darkness. Obviously that is different than original. Special rules. Your powers never cause damage, nor can they destroy anything other than your own presence. When your powers would destroy or deal enough damage to destroy invaders, generate 1, 3, or 5 fear for the associated piece. The power pushes all explorers or towns it would destroy. Notes, a single power cannot destroy a given invader more than once. Powers which cause damage via Dahan are confected just like all others. All effects other than damage or destroy work as usual. These fear numbers are up from base, where it's normally 0 to 5. This is now 1, 3, 5. So killing explorers or towns, even though it's fake, is 1 more fear than normal. You also have Nightmares of Violence and Death. Half of the card plays from your presence track can only be used for power cards with damage or destroy instructions. And that's different. Growth options. Number 1, reclaim cards gain power card. Number 2, reclaim 1 at a person set range 0. Number 3, gain a power card at a person set range 1. Number 4, add a presence to land with Dahan or invaders and gain 2 energy. We start at 2 energy per turn and 4 card plays. We go up to 5 energy and 6 card plays. We get an air, a moon, and 2 ennies. And the card play numbers are doubled from what they were originally. So we get twice as many card plays, although half of them can only be used for power cards with damage or destroy instructions. Our innate power is Night Terrors. At 1 moon, 1 air, 1 fear. At 2 moon, 1 air, 1 animal, plus 1 fear. And at 3 moon, 2 air, 1 animal, plus 1 fear. We no longer have Spirits May Yet Dream, but we generate more fear, so we may not know what fear cards are coming or grant extra elements, but we can give ourselves a lot more elements by playing more power cards that grant damage or destroy effects. And Dreams of the Dahan has been replaced with Bat Scout for Raids by Darkness, which is very similar, except that it costs 1 more energy and doesn't generate fear, but we still have a choice. Also, it's slow, but we have a choice for damaging buildings or whatever. Costs 1 energy and it's slow and blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean. Blah 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 blah. Alright, let's continue reading. The Kingdom of England. Additional lost condition, proud and mighty capital. If 7 or more buildings are ever in a single land, the invaders win. Escalation, building boom. On each board with buildings, build in the land with the most buildings. I wonder if we're going to accidentally do something bad here, because obviously building in jungles is bad, building in wetlands is bad. Indentured servants earn land. Invader build actions affect lands without invaders if they're adjacent to at least 2 buildings before the build action. Criminals and malcontents. During setup on each board, add a city to land number 1 and a town to land number 2. And high immigration 1, put the high immigration tile on the invader board to the left of Ravage. The invaders take this build action each invader phase before ravaging. Cards slide left from Ravage to it and from it to the discard pile. Remove the tile when a stage 2 card slides onto it, putting that card in the discard. Their card distribution is 4-5-4. And that's all we have. Okay. Makes sense. Difficulty 8. What could possibly go wrong? Play on boards F and H, by the way. Exploring jungles. And the jungle rule was if they build a city, they add a blight, I believe, right? Yes. Thankfully, there are no city builds this turn. But these are the builds. And notice that my single presence in the wetland as river is not a sacred site. Okay. So, what to do? Jungle build, jungle build, jungle build. F2 and H1 have cities in them, and I guess we technically have Dread Apparitions on Bringer. I'm trying to figure out how I want to approach this Bringer game, as the last time I played it, I didn't really feel very riveted, but obviously we have to give it a go. Also, let's change the background while I'm thinking of it. Let's just move it up the chain. This foggy, mysterious ocean. All right. Should I try to do the standard river game? Question mark. Our special rule says that lands with 4 or more Dahan have defend 1, but defend 1 is like nothing. Like, Explorer Town is still 3 damage. Defend 1 makes that 2 damage. Kills the Dahan and would kill my presence. Obviously, we could just massive flooding or wash away. However, my innate power requires a sacred site. I guess the advantage of River's Bounty is that I can make a sacred site in the slow phase, and pretty much any land I have that has Dahan already is kind of a way of thinking about it. I would kind of like to have a sacred site in F5 because that's range 1 visibility to most of board F already. The problem is, like, if I do growth option 2, going up card place track, getting to reclaim 1, as is kind of standard fare. There will not be any Dahan in these lands. I'll just have this one. And I could do River's Bounty to scoop up 2 Dahan, making a 4th, making this a sacred site, and then I could do massive flooding. But it is a lot of effort to get there. Nonetheless, it's something I must do, I guess. Also have to be mindful that with high immigration, they're going to build in the jungle in 2 turns, and any places that we haven't really fixed since then might build a city. But I feel like that's something we have to kind of risk with. So, my presence kind of has to form a river, right? So probably should try to make a river through the middle of the board. So like this. This kind of configuration is kind of nice for having a horizontal river across the island. And I do think that double presence growth is going to be very important for this, so getting to reclaim 1 ASAP is kind of a good idea. Could try to wash away, I guess. River's Bounty is probably the card we're always playing. It gives me an energy, lets me play Flash Floods next turn pretty easily. I like it. We will try to prevent as many interland builds as possible, because otherwise England will get away with us. We also really want to avoid London being in a wetland. Probably also jungle because of the city. Honestly, mountains is the best because all they do is add explorers, which does pretty much nothing for England. They'll probably just build anyway. But if they make a Sansa London, then that will always cascade, so we have to be mindful of that. Now with Bringer. You can play multiple cards that deal damage. But the big problem that we had, I feel like, was that we didn't have energy to play most of those cards. So probably the way I need to think of this is that cards that are 0 energy and deal damage are free cards, in the sense that they don't cost card plays or energy. So maybe I should not be as mindful of elements as I normally am. Turn 1 major. I mean, I could try for it, except the problem is my Gather Dahan power is slow. So maybe this turn I don't go for that. I think going up the energy track is even more useful than normal Bringer because I have way more card plays than normal, but not energy to spend it on. But I think we're just going to have to mash gain power card for as much of the game as we can, in hopes of finding free powers that deal damage. This is free, but it doesn't deal damage. But it is pretty good elements. This one does say damage. Moon is slightly more important than air. This does not say damage. This does not say damage. So infested aquifers, am I just going to prioritize anything that says damage? Mountain wetland disease is probably really good. Disease in wetlands is especially good. I think I take that. And it is a range 0 card, so I need to be in a wetlands for it to work. So I guess we go into H6 as that's more central to board H. And then what? H5 is a big priority, but I don't really... I can't hit it with Predatory Nightmares. That doesn't do range. There's no Dahan in there. Pretty much have to defend it next turn with Dread Apparitions. Play Call in Midnight Streams to generate the fear for that. Don't actually use the major power thing right away. Actually use that for fear. It is a 0 energy fear card. So I guess I want to get Dahan in there then. One more moon card gets me one more fear. Disease in H6 is probably fine then. It's a 33% chance that they explore wetlands. I can play more power cards. I could play Called Midnight Streams. Oh, because this technically says damage, right? So this counts as an extra play. This would generate one more fear. But this would only let me target H6 to gain a major. Do I want to take the major right away? What if I just forget Predatory Nightmares? Even though it is a damage-dealing power, it's 2 energy. That's so rude. No, I said we needed that for H5, so I'm not playing that. Never mind. Good fast face. Oh, because I'm not in a land with invaders. Maybe that means I should have prioritized H7 then. I do need range to H5, and if I want to actually get the fear that I have on my innate, I should probably be in a land with invaders. So now, Night Terrors. Jungle build. Wetlands Explorer. Okay, so then I can't disease this, but I can disease this. Gather 2 Dahan into here. Either way, I'm going to have a singleton somewhere, so I guess we'll try for that. Hopefully the event doesn't screw us. Right, so we're going to have this defended and we're going to solve this. This is going to blow up. That Dahan is kind of lost. I do have to be careful because if I just wash away into F2, then the high immigration build will put a city there, which puts a blight down. I also have to create a sacred site. I don't see why I wouldn't just do it here. I'll leave the Dahan in F1 for now. Massive flooding only pushes one thing. I mean, I probably do want to put that town in there. I could wash away like F7, but let's throw you all into F1. A blight in sands cascades, that's also kind of bad. But what can you do? So then we're gonna have H5 defended so I can extend River's River to H5. And if I want to make this a sacred site, I can move 2 Dahan over there right now. I have a Reclaim 1, and that's going to be for River's Bounty, because I can afford these powers, and I get 2 damage, push 3 pieces at range 1. I also have a Flash Floods. It doesn't prevent the F3 build, but it could prevent F7. In fact, it does prevent F7. So that's probably useful. This can only be used after growth, so I do need to move these to Han to a place where I would want them to be, but I don't know where I want them to be. I only need the Sacred Site in the slow phase. Probably just putting one Dahan in F4 and H4 is okay. Although a singleton gets converted by the event that does that, but doing that allows me to river bounty either F4 or H4 to create a Sacred Site wherever I need it in the slow phase. I guess if we could put more Dahan in H5 and do Call of Midnight Streams there for the major, eschewing everything I said about using that for fear. Let's at least gain the power card. We're mashing that button, as we said. Anything that's free and deals damage is what we would want. Unfortunately, that is not any of those. Push pieces per Dahan. This deals damage, so it doesn't count as a card play up to the cap, but Jungle Sands +1 damage. We don't actually destroy the Dahan because our effects cannot destroy anything. So 1 fear and 2 damage in Jungle and Sands, but it needs a Sacred Site, so that'd only be like H1. And that would, if it destroys a town, that's 3 fear. I still feel like I would rather take free cards if they make sense, and Call to Isolation makes a lot of sense to me. Especially as with River, we can move Dahan around pretty freely. Alright, I need to be in H5. Call Midnight Streams. Dread Apparitions. And we could play Predatory Nightmares. That would get us more fear in H5 for the defend. Or am I going to do Massive Flooding this turn? F3 would be ideal. H6 would be okay. I guess F3 is not ideal, as I can do Flash Floods next turn. In F3. H7 is also a consideration. So let's put one Dahan here. Let's try not gaining a major power. Let's just try it. I always click major power right away. I never use it for actual fear. Do I want to play Predatory Nightmares? I guess I can use Predatory Nightmares to stop H7. That's okay. Does get me plus fear as well, so Dread Apparitions, fear, fear, then stop that build. And energy to bringer. Okay. Defend there, nothing in there. 2 ravages are happening, and we stopped one of the builds. Okay. Invaders surge inland. On a coastal land on each board, move a town 1 or 2 lands inland. Grim Toll. On each board, choose a land with disease. In that land, 2 damage to invaders and 2 damage to Dahan. Canny defense during ravage in every land. Defend 1 per Dahan in the land. Honestly, that is pretty good. Move this town into F5. It dies, and then we don't get a city in F2. Well, I guess it was never going to be a city in F2, but and in any case, that is still fine. Don't move that town anymore. This town can move into H5. It's defended. Two damage to buildings. There's no disease on board F, and on board H, we have a choice between H2 and H7, killing that town. Although we were planning on doing that with the predatory nightmares. I guess we could do it in H1 instead. It's not each land, right? Choose a land. So only this one. And then defend. That defend was actually good for that town movement, by the way. Quarantine. Explorer does not affect coastal lands. Pretty early for that one. Not really gonna do much. Bye, Dahan. Wetlands build. Oh, right, and a build in wetlands is double. I forgot that. I told you there was a 95% chance I was going to forget something. Mountains is double explorers. But they do not explore H3. And presently, they're not even going to build an H3 as there's only one neighboring building, so that's pretty good. So now I have to figure out how to solve H6. Or F3, all of those. And a massive flooding only deals 2 damage and pushes 3 things, so I can't kill cities with that as it stands. I guess H3 is going to build because H5 is building off high immigration. If I predatory nightmares this town, I actually want it in H2, and that's going to make H3 build as well. I guess H5 is always building because of all the neighboring buildings, so then H3 is always building. Rude. Okay. Well, River Reclaims might get a defend card. Flash Floods only deals 2 damage, so even getting rid of everything in F3 other than the city, it's still going to have issues. I just have to weather that storm. I don't want to put a town in H1 as that's going to result in a city that will put a blight down. So yeah, this Predatory Nightmares is not actually that helpful. I guess I could just move the town to H2. H3's building no matter what. And massive flooding, where can I put that? That would make sense. The explorers are in places where they're always going to build anyway. This is always building. Is it? Yeah, it is. 2 cities. Hmm. This Dahan is possibly dying if I leave it there too. Probably just gonna have to sacrifice that. I don't think this ravage will be solved, but I can at least kill the town in there. Oh, I didn't need all that to hunt. Just save that one, and then they make the 4th that makes the sacred site. And then massive flood there, killed the town, and the explorer can just go into the sands. I said I wanted to avoid putting pieces in sands, and I've successfully put pieces in sands. Great job. All right, reclaim. And find something that helps. That's not really helpful. Strong constant currents. Range 0 coastal. That's not any of my lands. But it is good elements and it's free. Reaching grasp is good elements and is +2 range with powers. Let's see, so that's a blight, that's a blight, that's okay, that's not doing anything. Jungle build, that's not blight, that's not blight, that's not blight, that's not blight. Mountain build, 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 build. And then we get potentially an escalation. So if they escalate on H... it's either H1 or H2. Either of which would be okay. This is a disease, it's probably better to be H2. H1 is a town, but if I do let that continue building, that's going to put a city down that would then blight, so that's not good. F1 is the build here, and that's a city, but it's also sand, so it's only the ravage where things happen. I mean, technically, it's not even a ravage. It's just anything that puts blight down, including, like, blight cards, event cards, power cards. Certainly reaching grasps is the play here. I have so much energy on Bringer thanks to Boon of Vigor that I kind of want to do a major here. But I don't want to reclaim 1 to do that. Do I just take a major off the power? I mean, I could hit reclaim 1 and take Call of Midnight Streams back, but... I guess that's probably better than gaining a major directly. Let's take Reaching Grasp and then see what that major is, I guess. Could put more Dahan over here, but as it stands, he's gonna have 10 energy. In any case, you're playing Flash Floods for F3, maybe? I'm not even sure if we're doing that. Always play Reverse Bounty. Probably playing Reaching Grasp, as we said. I So if I do this, Sacred Site in H5 probably. Use Night Terrors before we do Cloud Midnight Streams. I could put 2 more Dahan in here. I guess. I think we can just move these singletons. I can make a Sacred Site in F5 in this slow phase if needed. So Fear. And then gain Major. Well, those are not expensive. They're also all fast. Blight cannot be added. Paralyzing Fright. Any thresholds we can actually hit? Not this turn, no. Add a beasts. Move up to 2 beasts within range 3 to target land. For each beast present, choose a different invader. 1 damage to each of those invaders. Push a explore town per beasts. That's a lot of words for saying push up to 3 things. Kind of. 3 fear, defend 6, targeting a jungle or a land with no blade. And skip the next build action. Also, just 4 fear off of Paralyzing Fright. Kind of tempted to do Infinite Vitality, as preventing Blight affects a lot that this scenario does. Blight, indirect Blight. And it would save the Dahan in F3. Which gives me an incentive to actually flash floods there, as I can kill the city. It's not good elements, but the other thing is that the only thing that says damage is this one. I guess this also says damage. Yes, this also technically says damage, but it's not damage instructions, right? Half the card base can be used for power cards with damage or destroy instructions. This just says Dahan cannot be damaged or destroyed. Let's do Infinite Vitality. Forget this. Gain this. Kind of wish I could get more Dahan in there, actually. It's funny that that has like a weird kind of light up, because it's kind of saying I don't have a valid land. I mean, I guess no. No, there's a valid land. Reaching grass, so I can target F3 with that. Flash floods, damage the city, kill the explorer. This isn't doing anything, right? Don't think so. Push Dahan? That's not going to do anything. Push Explorer Town per Dahan also doesn't do anything. Guess I could put a Dahan in H7. Now that I have the super stack here. Alright. Event card. Cities rise on each board. In the land with most towns, replace 2 towns with 2 cities. Beasts chase off homesteaders. On each board, push up to 2 explorers or a town from a land with beasts. Careful defense when invaders ravage. If the land has Dahan, defend 2. On each board in the land with most towns. So the sands. And push things from a land with beasts. Well, it's not going to do much. Could kill off that explorer as there will be defend 2 in there. This explorer, I mean, the build's not prevented anyway. No, it is. Yeah, no, it's not. Wait. Yeah, this jungle's building and then that jungle, or that land builds, yeah. You can go in that wetland, whatever. And then, plan for departure. Each player may gather a town into a coastal land. Does that stop builds? There's no valid target on board H. Jungle build puts a town there. If I move this town out, this mountain doesn't build, I think. So take that. Any merit in putting in F1 and making that London worse? I mean, we might be able to do super massive flooding next turn, but we won't have flash floods, but... maybe it's okay. If they explore sands, it might be sad. Jungle build. Outland ravage. Mountain build. Wetland Explorer. So this is obviously F1. Here we have the choice. If I click H1, it's kind of bad. Use up the disease, that's fine. And again, when wetlands build, they build twice, which is great as they're building 4 times. Oh god. Oh god. Alright, can I get rid of icons? Sure wish there was a nice one-click button to remove all icons. I mean, when time passes, you remove all icons. So there's no point in me doing this. But anyway, build, 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 build. This isn't... Well, no, it is building. There's an explorer there. Ravage, ravage, ravage. This is 2 damage, push 3 pieces. Probably using this in F4 is better, as that's blighted. Technically, I don't have range there yet, so I have to do reverse bounty there. Do I want the Dahan to be somewhere else? Could be an argument for me putting 4 Dahan in F4 and leaving a town there, but that seems like a waste. don't know that I can really prevent the wetlands builds. Let's just get that Dahan out of there. It's not gonna survive that. So if I want to play 4 cards, I have to gain power card here. And it needs to be a water sun card. If I retake River's Bounty here and I play those, it has to be water sun. Assuming that I'm gonna deal 2 damage to each invader, which is probably good. There's also gonna be Reclaim All down there. Infinite Vitality. Not gonna do much this turn. Maybe I gain another major and I forget Predatory Nightmares now. I'm definitely not doing the minor power plant I was originally doing with Bringer. Let's see what this is. Sun Water. Not damaged Sun Water, but not bad. Does remove Blight. I can dig that. Continue the Presence train. I guess if it goes into H6, that's potentially a problem. But we can remove the Blight there, so it's not a super big deal. Goes in F6, that's a problem. Okay, we'll have to solve H6. So I get my Hyper Innate. Or maybe I do Predatory Nightmares in H6. I deal 2 damage to each invader, which leaves only 1 damaged cities, and then I do Predatory Nightmares, generating 10 fear. Like, that's a lot of fear. Right. In which case, I'm not forgetting Predatory Nightmares. In which case, I do click Miner. 4 Earth. I currently have 3 Earth. Do I care about this threshold? I mean, I'm not using it this turn, am I? I could use it next turn in H6 or H7. The problem is that I would like to have 4 Earth for it, but if I'm playing Predatory Nightmares, I'm not getting an Earth card. I guess there's a chance I'm getting an Earth card here, so I'm clicking Miner. Badlands? No, doesn't target the right land. I cannot destroy. Things that say damage or destroy are free plays, though. Desiccating Winds is kind of that. Also does combo well with Massive Flooding. I'm going to click that and save it for next turn because I want to have Earth cards. So I'm not in a mountain to defend. this is not gonna work either. So what if I play this? I still get other plays though. I could actually just play all of these. Does that do anything? Generates 3 fear. I guess I could move to Han still. This is range 1. But there's nothing in H4 right now. I guess I could push it to Han in H3 and then defend H3. That kind of works. Boon of Vigor on Bringer. I'm going up the energy track and I'm getting Boon of Vigor all over the place. Fear. Push to Han. Defend. And then hope for the best. Tight-knit communities. For the rest of this turn, buildings have +1 health. Rude. Worst turn for that. Prey on the unwary. Each beast destroys explorers. Add a beast to a board without one. Coming of age on each board. Add a Han to a coastal land with the Han. Okay. Choose for me. That stops that build at least. That decision is forced. That decision is forced. A fear card says each player may push up to 2 explorers from an inland land. Doesn't do that much. They are not building F7 at all. So that was the one upside of that event. But my massive flooding plan has completely fallen apart. None of these builds are preventable. Let's just throw explorers in here. Still got a massive flooding there, I guess. Oh man, and if this is London now, did I just lose? I think we just lose. That's obviously the build there. But then that's the build there, and we lose. That was a fast game. Turns out that putting 6 buildings into 1 land in 1 turn is bad for England. Unfortunate. That game was less than 1 hour. The proud and mighty capital stands as a beacon for an unending flow of invaders. 26 points, 0 for defeat, 16 for difficulty 8, 5 for the 5 invader cards not in the deck, 8 for the 16 surviving Han, and -3 for the 6 blight on the island. Unfortunate. And I probably screwed that up myself. It's probably like I'm to blame for this because I could have known that was going to be the escalating land. That said, how could I have prevented that? I guess there's a town in there already, or city. There's a city in there already. I can't push the city out. I needed to pick a major that solved that somehow. Should have done Paralyzing Fright to skip all actions. That was probably the play. I should have picked that. Not the Infinite Vitality card. Womp womp. I'm debating whether I even do another game or not. Because I haven't done a double Spirit Island game in a while. Honestly, I'm more inclined to take an early night. I've had a long weekend. I think I'll just take an early night, make a short video and all that. Fun fact, early Handelabra videos were about 1 hour in length, and that was their stated goal, was they wanted a video to be 1 hour in length. Somewhere along the way, that got turned into 2 to 3 to 4 hours. But yeah, I had a long weekend. I'm willing to just say, hey, short stream this week. Sorry, guys. Task failed successfully. Yes. All right, well, next week we will try this again. Maybe not against England, but I am kind of doing RNG on the adversary. The spirits I'm choosing based off of statistics. These were the 2 spirits I picked least. There are other ones that fit that bill too, though. But Varied Terrains is just next on the list. So next week is Varied Terrains again, with 2 other spirits that are least played against a random adversary. And we'll see if I get England again or not. But yeah, maybe I should play better. Maybe I should just not lose the game. That would be ideal. Anyway, yeah, that will be next week. Tomorrow, Handelabra Live. Check it out. See demos of content before it is publicly available. That's all I got. Have a good night.